What is going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here. Today, we're going to learn some double stops. And not just regular double stops, awesome bluesy double stops. What makes a double stop bluesy? The pentatonic scale. What is a double stop? We'll find out in a second. But before that, click the link below, because we're going to tab out everything we're doing here. And we're going to start in the pentatonic scale, 5-note scale, 5th position, because why not? It's all about fives today. So we're going to start on a G note, okay? So all this is a 5-note scale starting on a G. G, A, C, D, E, and G again, okay? So if we look at the scale right here, we got 3 to 5 on the low E string, 3 to 5 on the A string, 2 to 5 on the D string. The reason I like this is because it has a lot of symmetry, which we're going to see once we get past these first lowest 3 strings, okay? So before we go on, let's just be able to do this forward and backwards. Now, what a double stop is when you play any 2 of these notes together. So for instance, let's take the 3rd fret on the E string. We're going to play through to get to the 3rd fret on the A string. Now I can combine those, okay? Make a double stop. Really, you've already played double stops all the time, so just kind of like just 2 notes together. If I played the first note of this 5-note scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th one right here, I get a power chord, 3E and 5A. This is a really cool way to start making little pieces of chords sound great together. Again, the true definition of a chord is any 3 different notes played at the same time. We're only doing 2 of these, doubling up, all right? Now, there's a lot of cool creative ways that we can do this, which I'm going to tab out again, but let's learn the rest of this shape, okay? So I said this was symmetrical. The symmetry is something that really makes this shape perfect for double stopping because we have 3-5, 3-5, 2-5. The inverse of that would be 2-5, 3-5, 3-5. Okay, so we can kind of think of this as just like 2 sides of the shape. 2 frets, 2 frets, 3 frets, 3 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets. Backwards. So one thing that I like to do with these pentatonic scale shapes is look at them as sides as a time, okay? What that means is every one of these strings has 2 notes, okay? Either 3 or 5 or 2 or 5. Now, if we think of the first of those 2 notes per string, we can play them like this. 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, okay? Now, and then if the second note on those strings is really way easier even. It's just 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, okay? Now we can start making chords or start making double stops combining any 2 of these. So if we went through the whole, what I'm thinking of if I'm looking at my guitar, the left side of this shape, the 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, I can run through these 2 notes at a time, starting on 3E and 3A, then 3A and 2D, then 2D and 2G, 2G and 3B, 3B and 3E. Alright? So you can play it like. And then if we did the same thing, but on the bottom of the shape, it would look like this. 5E and A, 5A and D, 5D and G, 5G and B. Okay? So I think this is a cool thing to maybe add into your lead playing or to go with chords. Now a chord that really works well with the shape, starting on a G, is a G major chord. Also because if you look at this G major chord, look at that. The first 2 notes, the lowest 2 notes you play, are actually kind of what we just did earlier, double stopping through almost part of that shape, right? Again, if we played that full scale, like a G major scale, we'd be right there. So the 3rd fret of the A string is in that pentatonic scale shape that we can add to a G major chord. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say this kind of shape goes well with this chord. Any of these notes can go on top of these, and this actually rings true with a lot of the other chords you'll see in G, like whether you want to use the key of G, specifically maybe like the key of C, because again, this is the 5th pentatonic position, as most people like to call it, which goes well in the key of C, A minor. Don't get too caught up on that. Really just let's focus on getting this shape down and then being able to play it in different ways. So aside from just taking a side like that, let's start combining them on different strings, okay? So maybe I'll start with the very last one, which is 5B and 5E. And then I'm going to go backwards to the last part of that shape. So 5 B and B, or B and E, to 3 B and E. Okay? I'm just double stopping through one shape. You can use whatever finger is available. So for instance, if I wanted to maybe think about that in conjunction with the open G major chord, in fact, a lot of people play G major with the ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and the pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. So right there, you're already kind of double stopping through that. Slide into the next part of that shape, G major. I was really just taking one chord and one shape, almost at random, going through them. Again, the symmetry of the shape is great because it's super easy to remember. The second half of the shape, the bottom side as I like to look at it, is all the same fret. So anything on this 5th fret is going to work over a G chord. You don't always have to double stop it. Maybe you can kind of just run through it like that, playing single notes at a time. But the double stopping, I think, actually adds a pretty cool sound. So let's start to incorporate more of the center of the shape. So instead of just 5 and 5 and 3 and 3, let's go 5 and 5 and 3 and 2. This is one of my favorite ones right here, actually. So I'm gonna go the 5th fret on the B string and the 5th fret on the G string, and I'm gonna bring this back, maybe I can even slide it, to the 3rd fret on the B string and the 2nd fret on the G string. Okay, see how that works? I can use the same fingers. Maybe if I want to start with just my pointer finger, my middle finger. And then as I get back, separate them 1 fret. See how that works? I can use 2 totally different fingers to almost kind of make it like a position where I have 5 and 5 and 3 and 2. A lot of different options. But to start thinking of the roadmap of the fretboard in this way, I think is super valuable. Something I know from personal experiences really helped my playing. And then the next one is another easy one to remember because it's a symmetrical one where it's 2 and 2 and 5 and 5. Okay, so all that was the middle double stop we have 2D and 2G to 5D and 5G. Then we're gonna go down through to 3 or to 2 and 3, and then 3 and 3. All right, so some cool sounds that we can kind of get from really just like a bluesy pentatonic scale. You can really play this. You can also play this over like even like a G7 chord or something like that. That's a very bluesy sounding thing to play when any of these shapes really over a G dominant 7 chord. The voicing I'm using right here is 3E, 2A, 3D, and then the G on the high E string. So, a lot of different things. This is just one example, and that's why you want to learn a few scale shapes, because then eventually, once you learn more, you can start to double stop between them. And then there's like, you know, there's no stopping you. Then you can just go on an absolute double stopping rampage, the likes of which will get you on the local news or something like that. So again, we're talking about a chord, G major. This shape sits on a G that is symmetrical, and it can be anything. Like take any major chord. Let's take A major, right? Open A, 2, 2, 2 on the D, G, and B strings, and open E. We can take this and just root it on A, the 5th fret of the low E string. Same shape, just in a different location. And then maybe we can take these same double stops again, I'm thinking of jumping into this shape. I can go to this one. So, a lot of different things you can do with this, but it's really just one way to start thinking about how you might want to more musically use these scales I think double stopping is a fantastic way to do it. So if you have any questions or comments, hit us up in the comment section and we'll get back to you. And also, if you just want to scope out some more of the vids, you're in luck because we got so many on this channel, hundreds of millions of thousands of them. Feel free to click around, subscribe, like, let us know what you're digging, what you're not digging, some more stuff you want to see, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.